What's good, everyone? Um, Good morning to some and good afternoon to others. Welcome to the Oaken. Shalom, Lord. Shalom. I want to say to everyone, don't forget to hit that like button on the way in. Um, Thank y'all for coming out today. Um, and as the title states of today's topic, um, separating to receive your blessings. Basically, for today's study, we'll be going into Genesis chapter 12 to prove how this title is true. In Black American society, there's a perceived toxic notion that our most productive men are supposed to stay away for the better, are supposed to stay for the betterment of the society. But throughout the Bible, it shows that God wants his chosen people to separate from these toxic people for one reason. You can't serve two masters. Either you'll love one or despise the other. So why stay in an environment where the people despise you and what you stand for? All right. Like I stated, we'll be going into Genesis chapter 12. And then I'll be starting here with verses 1. I'll be going with verses 1 through 5 here. Excuse me for a minute. All right. Excuse me. We are starting with Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 5. Give everyone time to kind of get there. And I'll be reading from the, oh my gosh, can't even think. Excuse me. I'll be reading from the Amplified version of the Bible. And it starts off in verse 1 stating, "Now, in Haran, the Lord said to Abram, go away from your country and from your relatives and from your father's house to the land which I will show you. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you abundantly, and make your name great, exalted, distinguished, and you shall be blessed, and you shall be a blessing, a source of great good to others. And I will bless, do good for and benefit those who bless you, and I will curse. That is, they will be subject to my wrath and judgment. The one who curses, despises, dishonors, or has contempt for you." So Abram departed in faithful obedience as the Lord had directed him, and Lot, his nephew, left with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he left for Haran. Abraham took Sarai, his wife, and Lot, his nephew, and all their possessions which they had acquired, and the people, which are servants that they had acquired in Haran, and they set out to go to the land of Canaan. All right. Now, in this next part, Abram and Lot had been so blessed abundantly that the land could not support both families. So they had to separate so both could prosper. So basically, what I'm going to do here, hold on. So hold on, let me get to the part. I'm going to read Genesis 13, 6 through 15 here to explain this part. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. All right. So basically it says here, now the land was not able to support them, that is, sustain all their grazing and water needs while they lived near one another, for the possessions were too great for them to stay together, and there was strife and quarreling between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. Now the Canaanite and the Perizzite were living in the land, that at the same time making grazing of the livestock difficult. So Abram said to Lot, please let there be no strife and disagreement between you and me, nor between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, because we're relatives. Is not the entire land before you? Please separate yourself from me. If you take the left, then I will go to the right. Or if you choose the right, then I will go to the left. So Lot looked and saw that the valley of Jordan was well watered everywhere. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. It was all like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as you go to Zoar, at the south end of the Dead Sea. Then Lot chose for himself all the valley of the Jordan, and he traveled east, so they separated from each other. This points out here too that, even during prosperity, there's a time for us to separate because the environment, it just can't hold up to even to too many prosperous people. So they have to spread out and separate from each other. Reading on in verse 12, it says, Abram settled in the land of Canaan, and Lot settled in the cities of the valley and camped as far as Sodom and lived there. But the men of Sodom were extremely wicked and sinful against the Lord, unashamed for the open sin before him. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had left him, now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are standing, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, I will give to you and your descendants forever. So now I'm going to Genesis chapter 19 and going through verses 4 through 26. This one is to show where separation is also needed, but for a different reason than there being an abundance. Even though the environment is good and there is abundance and is prosperous for everyone, the problem is it just couldn't support everyone being there. Now, this one is a separation of a different kind, needing to separate from the toxic individuals who don't have your best interest at heart, and also who don't have the best interest of anyone. So as we go forward, we read here, verse 4, starting with verse 4, it reads, but before they lay down to sleep, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. Oh, and to start off, there was pretty much two angels, two new people had come to Sodom, and so this was stirring the men. Sodom was a very wicked place, and these men wanted to know who these two men were that come into the city. So starting again. Both young and old surrounded the house, all the men from every quarter. And they called out to Lot and said to him, where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we may know them intimately. But Lot went out of the doorway to the men and shut the door after him and said, please, my brothers, do not do something so wicked. See here, I have two daughters who have not known a man intimately. Please let me bring them out to you instead, and you can do as you please with them. Only do nothing to these men, because they have in fact come under the shelter of my roof for protection. But they said, get out of the way. And they said, this man Lot came here as an outsider to live temporarily, and now he is acting like a judge. Now we will treat you worse than your visitors. So they rushed forward and pressed violently against Lot and came close to breaking down the door of his house. But the angels reached out with their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door after him. They struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, from the young men to the old, so that they exhausted themselves trying to find a doorway. And the two angels asked Lot, have you any others here in Sodom, a son-in-law, and your sons and your daughters, whom you have in the city? Hold on. Excuse me, I'm back. What was that? Okay. Um, have you any others in Sodom, a son-in-law and your sons and your daughters, whomever you have in the city, take them out of here, for we are destroying this place, because the outcry for judgment against them has grown so great before the Lord that the Lord has sent us to destroy and ruin it. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons and son-in-laws, sons-in-law, who were betrothed and legally promised to marry his daughters, and said, "Get up and get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city." But to his sons-in-law he appeared to be joking. When morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, "Get up, take your wife and 2 daughters who are here, and go, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city." But Lot hesitated and lingered. The men took hold of his hand, the angels, and the hand of his wife, and the hands of his 2 daughters, because the Lord was merciful to him for Abram's sake. They brought him out and left him outside the city with his family. When they had brought them outside, one of the angels said, "Escape for your life. Do not look behind you or stop anywhere in the entire valley to escape to the mountains of Moab, or you will be consumed and swept away." But Lot said to them, "Oh no, not that place, my lords. Please listen. Your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have magnified your loving kindness to me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains, because the disaster will overtake me and I will be killed. Now look, this town in the distance is near enough for us to flee to, and it is small with only a few people. Please let me escape there. It is not um, is it not small, so that my life will be saved?" And the angel said to him, "Behold, I will grant you this request also. I will not destroy this town of which you have spoken. Hurry and take refuge there, for I cannot do anything to punish Sodom until you arrive there. For this reason, the town was named Zor, meaning few small. The sun had risen over the earth when Lot came to Zor. Then the Lord rained down brimstone and fire on Sodom and on Gomorrah from the Lord out of heaven, and he overthrew those cities and the entire valley and all the inhabitants of the cities. But whatever grew on the ground, But Lot's wife from behind him foolishly, longingly looked back toward Sodom in an act of disobedience, and she became a pillar of salt. Um, it's important to remember that when we're leaving these toxic people, these toxic situations, that we're not to look back, because looking back, you can't handle what's in front of you accordingly. You can't. I mean, when you, it's like that old saying, when you grab hold to the plow, don't look back, because the simple fact is the line won't be straight. You're all over the place. So you don't look back, because looking back means you still have an attachment to that dysfunction and to that toxicness that is back there, that is not of the Lord. That's why I brought up the statement earlier that when you have to separate from these people for one reason, because you can't serve two masters. Either you'll love one or despise the other. So if you're looking back, it shows God that you still have a love for these toxic, unproductive people who mean you and no one else any good. They mean him no good. And you can't, and God, there is there's no middle ground. There's no fence sitter. Either you're with him or you're not. And we should be the same way with the people that we choose to allow into our space, into our lives, into our homes, to have any part of our time. We have to choose to. We have to cut them off. And that's the best thing that we can do for ourselves. But when we have certain people from this place that we leave, if they show something, if they have a track record that shows that they are worth our time, they're worth us opening our homes to, worth them allowing this space, then those that show that with their proven track record, we can allow those people in because they are proven to be something of value. They are proven to be someone of value. They are proven that they can bless you as well as others with the information and guidance that they have. But people, these toxic people of Sodom, they care nothing for anyone, even their own selves. So they are a plague and a parasite to everyone around them. And that's why you must cut them off, because if you don't, you'll become a parasite and a plague to everyone around you yourself. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming and listening. I just want to say I'm going to course here at 1. If I don't, I'm going to start about 1. I'm going to start the barbershop talk up on this subject and have everyone come over there. And thanks for coming out, Melody. Thanks for coming out, Lawrence. Appreciate y'all for listening in. And I hope y'all got a lot from this and anyone else who catches this. Thank you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Oaken. Kind of get that algorithm up and get that information out there. Think it's good information that everyone can apply to their everyday lives. But that's all I got for this time, and I'll be starting up that live here on the Barbershop Talk here in about 10 minutes. Thank you all. Peace.